a lot of Milligan people, you know, that,
Right. You could say.
and I knew they lived, so.
Yeah, so they're not, just something.
Did I get it? Yeah, I don't know.
Because usually it's like, okay, when you said that, that's what I was thinking. I said, what's on social media? Yeah, she said.
I worked on it one of the time when I was on the
Oh, I was gonna say, oh man, you got this sworn in every.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and call buildings and grounds to order at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Ms. Gwen, if you would call the roll, please.
Nick Holder. Avery Wynn.
Here.
Angie Odom. Jerry Prophet.
Here.
Charlene Thomas. Jason Clausen.
Here.
Aaron Frazier.
Here.
Billy Collins.
All right, floor is open for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. I'll go ahead and open us up in prayer as soon as I sign this. Mr. Clausen, will you lead us in the pledge afterwards, sir? Sir. Thank you. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you do for us, God. We thank you for the ways that you're working in this county and through the people in this county to share your love with your people. Father, we pray that you would be with us as we conduct business for the county and the citizens here, and keep us in your grace, God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. Next up is the approval of the minutes from the November 2024 meeting. We'll start with that one, and I think we have one from September that is also in your packet. So, yeah. So September is the first one you come to, so that will be the first one up. The floor is open for a motion. I don't think many of us were here, so as Josh can attest, we can vote just to move it on.
Move to accept the agenda or the minutes from the September meeting.
Motion by Avery, we have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Clausen. Any corrections, additions, or modifications? Ms. Nguyen, if you would call the roll, please.
Nick Holder.
Yes.
Avery Wynn.
Yes.
Angie Odom.
Yes.
Jerry Prophet.
Yes.
Charlene Thomas.
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Aye.
Billy Collins.
Yes.
Thank you, folks. Next up will be the November 7th Building and Grounds meeting. Floor is open for motion.
Move to accept November.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Odom. Let it reflect that Ms. Odom has joined us. Any corrections, additions, modifications, or deletions?
Aaron's name is misspelled there,
Where at?
under the no vote, just one little.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. My name is two A's and one R.
What was the,
Under
Three.
Chair Aaron Frazier took over the meeting.
oh,
It's twice there, so just read that.
Hey, Ron.
Oh, yeah, and then it's right above it on the no.
There's two of them there. And
Hey, wrong.
September minute or November minutes?
Yeah, November, under item 3. You see them? Right there, and right there. 2 A's, 1 R. Any other corrections? Call the roll when you're ready, Ms. Wynn.
Nick Holder?
Yes.
Avery Wynn?
Yes.
Odom?
Yes.
Gary Prophet?
Yes.
Jason Clausen? Aaron Fraser?
Aye. Thank you, folks. Moving on, public comment. All right. Old business, Folsom House options. Whole bunch of stuff under here. Also, Lisa Germain and Teresa are here to go over some of the stuff that they sent over on the Folsom House. Ms. Dredway and Ms. Germain, if you would like to join us up here, or you can just sit there and we can holler at you.
Sit here.
Oh, well, fine, take all the fun out of it.
I can't hear you.
Does anybody, because the deed that Josh, that the county has on, that is on file for it, the warranty deed is in there on the email from Josh. And it has, trying to remember where I read it. Josh, can you point me back to it?
It's on the second page of the deed. I don't have the email, but kind of the middle of the page, talking about the conditions. I mean, essentially, the record of anything I find from 1976, county was conveyed the property by Murray and Rose Folsom, and it was supposed to be torn down. It was torn down, and title reverted back to them. That's been whatever, 50 years. So apparently there was some agreement after that. I can't find any record of it anywhere. Don't know what that agreement was, but it was torn down and it's been used for many years since. So basically, if it is torn down, there were certain properties that were supposed to revert back to the owners or now their family members. I don't have any idea if that stuff is still in there. As it is, light fixtures and the mantle. But in any event, I don't know what agreement happened after this and can't find any record of it.
I think some of the info was that if it was not used by the county, that then it would revert back to them. So it just essentially, we got to tear it down based on the information in this deed.
I mean, based on the information, they were supposed to do that 50 years ago. So something changed.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a meeting and it was from the Carter County Court at that time, and it was a group of magistrates that met on a quarterly basis. And there's a reference to that meeting in the Johnson City Press, and it was we couldn't find those minute meetings. I've been everywhere to find them, but evidently they was in Judge Don Lewis's office, and who knows where his paperwork went or where those minutes to those meetings went. But that was where the agreement was made, and so we have no way of knowing what it was.
We did find reference to it in Gwen's office. They were going to be, putting it into those hands, but we cannot find anything.
So you don't know what the agreement was?
Other than having talked to Keith Hart, because it was his family, he was involved in the agreement and in what they had done. That is, and that was when they switched it so that it could be used for Carter County, and that it was why it was switched.
Okay.
Have you spoken to him?
Keith
Hart? Have you spoken to him?
Another thing, I have spoken with the granddaughter of Mr. Murray that donated this house. She has some paperwork in her possession as well. I don't know what that is. I can get back in contact with her and see if she can send us that information somehow if she's got something different that we don't have. But I have been in contact with her, and I've been in contact with her a long time ago, before all this started here.
Okay.
So,
If you would like to run with that, since you already have the contact laid out, I mean, she may have the information from the meeting that you're talking about and can give us some further guidance on it and that sort of thing. Because as of right now, it's listed with FEMA and public assistance for remediating any of the damage on there. Plus, we've got a whole lot of documentation on state grants and federal grants that we can get to get the house back up to standard. Now, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, the insurance company has told us that we cannot use it for offices again after
The
this.
status right now is we have filed with FEMA under category B for protective emergency services. And that basically captured the fact that I had to have Belfour come in and clean the property so the adjuster can get in there to assess the damages. The first floor has been cleaned, but the basement is still not mucked out. It's in very bad shape. It's in very bad shape. And when I say that, Chris Schuler will have to look at it and make sure that we can even go any further with it and make a decision on a possibility of condemning. The smell is horrendous. It's the terminology used from Belfour and the adjuster was it's rotting from the inside out. So, you know, and when we talk about grants, that's an opportunity, but we also with those grants, we'll have to show that we have tried to maintain that. We will have to prove all of the work that we've done to maintain it up until that point. And unfortunately, we've not done a lot of work to that home. There's not been funding for it. It's been asked for the past several years. He's been in there and it's needed things and there's just not been funding for it. So we're not going to be able to prove that we've done any upkeep to it other than basic maintenance. That's just been basically to keep the floors from falling in and the AC and things like that. So right now it's still with FEMA. Once the basement's left out, the adjuster will be able to get in there to assess the damage. But the decision will need to be made if we want to continue to file it with FEMA, because if we continue filing it with FEMA, they will give us an amount for what's damages, but they will take the insurance assessment amount away. And considering we didn't have flood insurance, it's going to be costly. And it's not going to leave us with any money to do anything to it, which is going to have to come out of the coffers here. So a decision has to be made sooner than later on the home. My suggestion would be looking at the state of Tennessee, the preservation there, the Historical Society, to see if they want to maybe come in and take it and give it the justice it deserves, the upkeep it deserves, if it's even able to be given that. Once the public adjuster finishes his assessment, we will have Chris come in and look at it, and it may not be able to be done anything with other than being condemned. The smell, I'm telling you, alone. I mean, the air quality in there right now will not allow anybody in there. It's in really bad shape. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Belfour has cleaned the first floor out and the basement out. But then we'll need to decide whether you as a committee and the county commission want to continue to allow me to move it on through FEMA or just stop it with the Belfour cleaning it out so we can capture that cost back and then make a decision on, as a county body, as a governing body, what you would like to do with the property and per what the deed says. And Lisa and Teresa, you may have some ideas of some organizations or someone maybe you could help us with that may be interested in taking the property. But I don't even know at this point if it's able to be preserved. There's so much damage to it. It's like I said, the adjuster has said it's kind of rotting from the inside out.
I know the deeds stipulated that it couldn't be moved either. So
Yeah, it can't be sold.
it can't be
Or moved.
sold or moved, so you're kind
Potentially do
of
some
leave it in the,
donation.
We could-
But, yeah, either it's torn down or you have to get the agreement of these heirs at this point. If it's transferred in any way that you left this property inside of it, the mantle and the stuff, they would still have to agree to that because technically we would owe them that stuff. Unless somebody finds a written agreement that contradicts this, you know, myths and legends and what might have happened doesn't matter. This is the last written agreement I'm aware of. Unless there's one that supersedes this, we're still bound by this. Unless the heirs now would change that.
So right now, you could leave it as a holding pattern on the agenda. So I can come to you and give you the final, I guess, the finals of what the adjuster says, and then we'll have Chris also look at it, because he is the building and codes inspector. I mean, he can make a final decision based upon the structure. It need to be condemned, or can we move forward with any type of renovation? Based upon what the public adjuster is saying, it's in pretty bad shape. And we haven't even gotten able to get into the basement yet. It hasn't even been mucked out to look at the structure.
I'm just not one to like to tear down Civil War era buildings.
I agree.
No.
I think, I mean, it's just my thoughts, if it is at a stage to where it can be salvaged, I do think we need to look at donation of this to somebody who can contribute what it truly deserves, and let it be the monument that it is, and be an historical home where people can come and view and see such a great part of our history here, instead of the county owning it, because we all know when it comes to providing money for maintenance of buildings, it's hard to do, especially if that's not a building we really use. So it's going to end up back in the same shape that it's in, sitting over there. So we really need to make a proactive decision on it.
The state parks has the Carter Mansion, right? Under that.
Yeah, they thought that, don't they, Bob?
Sycamore Shores.
Another layer to it as well is that it is within the Elizabethton Historic District, so whether it's torn down or fixed or whatever, it has to go through that committee too, to do anything.
It has to go through the Historical Society committee?
Yes. It's on the National
It's
Historical
on the
city,
Historic Register.
For the city of Elizabeth.
In the historic district.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to leave it on the agenda, and let's wait to hear back from what the adjuster has to say, and also for planning and zoning once Chris checks on it and revisit it next committee.
Yeah, I should have a little bit more information by your next committee meeting. We need to get Chris in there, but right now we're just trying to get the basement knocked out so the adjuster can get in there, and then Chris will go in behind him and make a final determination. And I assume Chris will really be the one to solidify the next move for the entire building.
Josh, the date on your deed is 1976, right?
I think it's right, just me.
The meeting that was held that changed whatever the decision they made was in December 18th of 1977.
Okay.
So that was, and wherever that paperwork is in Judge Don Lewis's office.
And you said that was held in Johnson City?
It's in the Johnson City Press, but it was held here. They reported on it. That meeting was in December 18th, I guess, or thereabouts. It was the day of 1977.
If the minutes if it isn't in the minutes in Mary's office, we don't have it.
They're not in her office. This was stuff out of Judge Don Lewis's, and I don't know where his paperwork from his office. I don't know where they stored that
Well,
stuff.
she has old quarterly court records. Yes, ma'am.
We looked, but we didn't find it.
I mean, I can check again for that specific date. What would you say was December 77?
Yeah, December 18th, 77.
I'll look and make sure too, but if it's not in there, yeah, we're not gonna find it.
Yeah.
Other paperwork. Unless one of those areas have it.
And tied in with that, Commissioner Holder sent us we have a motion on the floor. My apologies. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Wynn.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
I just made a motion to place this back on the agenda for next committee meeting, once we hear back from the assessor and from planning and zoning, once Chris looks into it.
Was to contact the granddaughter and see if she's got any
Sure.
stuff too.
Doesn't make it any worse at this point. So if she's actually got the original documentation from it, that what happened in Judge Lewis's office in 77. So. Go ahead.
Nick Holder? Adrian Hill?
Yes.
Angie Odom?
Yes.
Gary Crumpet. Arlene Thomas.
Yes.
Jason Clausen.
Yes.
Aaron Frazier.
Aye.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
All right, now, kind of attached to the Folsom House was the UT Extension Office. Mr. Holder acquired some fanciful and fantastical documentation about the standards for the office that we are supposed to supply for the Ag Extension Office. And after looking through these, there is 0% of the county buildings that we currently have that qualify for this.
What about Herman Robinson?
Well, I wasn't sure about the parking at Herman Robinson nor the location
There's lots of
and
parking.
the ADA compliance.
It actually is, it's not complete ADA, but I think it's fairly close. I know the parking is justifiable.
How many people can park there?
Oh, gosh, I don't
Just on the west side of it, there's 128 or 29 parking spots. Got one main parking lot in front of the big building.
Where
And
did,
that would be, just be utilized, correct me if I'm wrong, Director Dean, if you're having some type of class or a meeting or something there, is that correct? When you will need those parking places, there's most of the time you use 5 to 8.
There's several areas of parking.
A lot of our stuff is
That
out.
main lot on the west side.
Hang on, Commissioner Wayne. What was you saying, Director Dean?
A lot of our programming is out in the community, like at school, center, that. And I think there may be some language in that document as well. I think if it's an existing structure, there's some room for flexibility.
Thank you.
So what is the available space currently at the Herman Robinson facility?
Right now, there's no available space. It's still a school. We still have full operations of the cat there. So you're looking at when they move out in 2 years. The sheriff's department has their space, of course, but there's plans in the works with some of the things the sheriff's department have presented to also take that campus for a training facility. I think they presented, but right now, we're still 2 years out before they start moving any of those classes out of there.
All right, Mr. Wynn, would you go ahead and share what you had discovered about the Southern?
I talked to the realtor that's got the sign up there, it's Remax. I think her name is Lisa Torvin. And they have 2 offers on the restaurant now. So when I approached her, I said, we might be interested in a lease of the building and explained to her why. And that's when she told me they had 2 offers on it. I asked her what the price was. They want $399 for it, which I don't think the county would benefit from purchasing the building for a couple of reasons. One, it would take it off the tax rolls. And 2, it's not a standalone building. It's in a line, it's a restaurant that's in a line.
And also the revenue from the tax collections on sales through there, so would be a much larger hit. So,
Chair, could I ask her, UT, a couple questions? I know that in our meetings, we talk a lot about your commercial kitchen. But in our record, like, I know that there's certain specs, but I would assume, obviously, through you all go out a lot to the places. You got cooked for us, organizations too. So it's not like you're needing a whole operational.
No, we wouldn't have to have a commercial kitchen, just, so like a lot of our programs, nutrition education and things, such as the space that would allow that and office space, and storage space.
I just want to clarify, because when we hear kitchen and we were talking at the last committee meeting, they were discussing commercial kitchen and that. I just wanted to clarify. I didn't think you needed a full-on commercial kitchen.
Of course, in a perfect world,
In a
everyone would
perfect
love that, but it's not.
The office space is what's important right now, to have a place to meet or have a group. Wow, this is.
Like a conference room space and things like that.
Mayor, oh, go ahead, Charlene.
so are you saying then there's some flexibility with this set of standards?
I think so. I've read through it several times. I think if it's an existing building, there's some flexibility with it, because obviously, like, we didn't have, 20-something parking spots where we were. I know there's some instructions in there for a new build and things like that, but I can also do UT.
Especially if we're not gonna find this building.
It'd be pretty hard.
Mayor, you had mentioned potentially the planning office as temporary housing.
When we purchased that building, we had moved planning there. It was under the understanding that there may be another the planning should not consume the entire building. There was space in there for other offices to be put in there, which we were looking at economic development. And so that was part of that purchase agreement that other offices could move in there if we needed it. We never went through with the economic development piece. So planning has spread out across in the building as they should, but they were under the understanding if we move something in there, they would move to the other side of the building. It is an option. I mean, if there's nothing that can be found, it is an option for space in there. There's a large conference room, 2 conference rooms, 2 offices on the back side. And it does have a kitchen in it, but they use it mostly for their their break room kitchen. I think a lot of people have been in it. It is an option. It's something that can be looked at. Of course, we'd have to get with Director Schutler, see how it's an option.
Are you all capable of taking temporary housing until something more permanent can be found?
Yes, we can definitely do that.
Given the circumstances in the flood, could we possibly move in to, I call it TCAP, but it's Herman Robinson, any sooner? Like next year, the first part of the year?
I mean, the agreement in the lease is that they operate as normal business there and we don't interrupt anything. But if they move out, yeah, possibility. If the facility starts getting built sooner, but this stuff's moving into this new facility. So we're just on the groundbreaking this week. So, I mean, that's what we're looking at. That was contingent upon them moving into that new facility. They gave us this property, but they would be able to maintain everything there. They're still taking care of the building. They're paying all the maintenance, all the light bills. They transferred it to us, but we do nothing else there. They're still fitting the bill for everything. So, I mean.
What all's in there now?
You've got their Kubota program, their criminal justice program, their welding program, the cosmetology program, and I think there's one other in there. Rachel, do you have to have a kitchen if we do something temporary?
If it's temporary, we might not necessarily have to have that. It would be nice if we could to do the food prep.
And can you use a kitchen that's in there? It doesn't have to be commercial
No,
grade kitchen.
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, don't have to be.
No. Our kitchen at the house was just like a
facility. See, there's not a kitchen at all. I was thinking I could call the president at TCAT and see about getting some space there, but there's not a kitchen at all in there at Herman Robinson.
Well, Chair, can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Chairman, could Chief Johnson speak?
One second, Ms. Owen.
As far as what our intentions are there is only the main building where Kubota is right now. I am very familiar with all the other buildings because I've been very familiar with the entire area because we've been there since 2017. For kitchen, the space that would be best up there for kitchens where cosmetology is now, because it has been within the last few years, it has had repairs made to it, has been remodeled, refurbished, and it is wired and plumbed to where a kitchen could easily be put in. None of the other buildings have anything that would necessarily match that. And just to clarify from the last time we spoke on this, with our intention to move into the main building if we can, for our training facility and our vehicle maintenance facility, we would no longer need the building that we're in right now. And so that would leave it as an open structure as well that may work for something else.
Yeah, but we're still 2 years out.
I think that they're moving out in piecemeal. And so I think that the Kubota, where it's moving to in Boones Creek, they may already be starting that process now. But I don't know, I can't speak intelligently on the welding or cosmetology. I don't think that they are running a criminal justice class this semester. I haven't seen anybody up there. We're on the property pretty frequently, and I haven't seen anybody up there. And our need for that, if anybody's not familiar, we moved into our current facility in 1981. The department was under 40 officers then. There was not a huge push for training at that time. That has changed, and there is a large requirement for training, and we're about 3 times that size now, if not more. And that building never had any room for training or meeting or anything at that time. Well, then part of the space that we did have, when we built the jail, we lost our garage, we lost our sally port, so we lost the ability to use them for any vehicle maintenance or anything. Part of criminal investigation, we had to give up for evidence processing because the computers that we use for the digital forensics processing and all that have to be in a separate space. So we had to give up office space there. So we really, our training, that's how we ended up there, was we were seeking some place to train our officers. Now, where we're at right now, we're sort of round pegging in a square hole and making it work for us. But as I said before, it's not the right amount of space. We can train maybe 18, 20 officers at a time, and that's it. There's not adequate bathroom facilities. If we have a car in there for evidentiary purposes, we have to shut the building down and can't use it because to keep chain of custody, we can't allow anybody into the building. And so it's challenging right now, and being able to use that other building would be a lot of that.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Ms. Owen.
I was just going throughout, from hearing this, my suggestion is, which for one, he's just explained why the sheriff's department needs that building, and it's great. They're seeing how they could share this in the future, open, and with all the plumbing and stuff, I tell you, kitchens need a lot of that, so that's great to hear. But for the immediate, we know that that is still on down the line, and being that there is an option for them to not have to work from home right now, because I understand UT Extension Office, they're all working from their homes, which makes it to where the public can't get to them. I mean, my suggestion is the immediate, what we need to work on is how to get them in an office where the public can have access to them. So that would be, could we reach out to Schuler? Let's find out if planning and zoning could have some offices open for them to where we could all share and make do until we can make the next decisions as time moves to where we can make those decisions.
Is that a motion?
That is my motion. Let's check with planning and zoning. And
We got a motion by
Temporary
Ms. Odom to reach out to Director Schuler as temporary using the planning office for them. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
And they have a large conference room in that building. I don't know if a lot of you have been in the backside. It could just, I mean, if Rachel and her team needed to, they could just set up in the conference room. And there's another small office in the corner, and they could kind of have that L shape back there for a temporary time until we, turn into another location. But it's a large conference room in there.
How many offices are you going to need, would like to have eventually?
We're fully staffed. We're fully staffed. There are, I think, 5 of us. So
you said when you're fully staffed, are you fully staffed right now?
we had a couple people resign right before the flood, and our administrative assistant, actually, her last day when she retired was the day it flooded, and then that Monday was her.
And right now, how many do you have?
Right now, since we don't have a physical space, it's just me, Kathleen Wilson, our ag agent, and Roger Clark, our 42. So we've got them part-time.
There would be enough space for them to work out over there. And plus that parking, they've got parking on the back side of the building that could be for the ag side. And then the planning can start using the front side of the building for the parking. We could put some signs up. I'll get signs made. If Director Schuler's okay with that, which I know he's in and out a lot too with him doing both jobs. So, I think his team would be willing to accommodate. It's a nice building. We remodeled the entire thing. I think it would make a good fit.
I would say I didn't count myself, so that'd be 6.
Gotcha. So 3 right now, 6 potentially at max out, plus a 7th for the administrative assistant, or is the administrative assistant? Okay. So any other discussion? Ms. Quinn? Motion by Angie, second by Charlene.
Nick Holder?
No.
Abraham? Angie Odom?
Yes.
Gary Prophet? Charlene Thomas?
Yes.
Nathan Clausen?
No.
Aaron Fraser?
Aye.
Bill Collins?
Yes. Angie, did you have temporary in your motion?
Let's make sure we put temporary in that motion.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah.
I think I said to temporarily place them
I thought,
until we can
I
move
just want
forward.
to make sure.
So now we need permanent solutions. Herman Robinson is one option on the table. Any other ideas?
So someone spoke to a realtor. You spoke to the realtor. Has anyone reached out to Collins or anybody around to say, are there any places for rent or purchase? Anybody? No,
Don't think so. Commercial spaces.
hard to find. I know.
Chair, I would like to just add, if we already have property and it's already free and it's going to come available, I suggest we look more into that situation, especially being that he's saying plumbing's there and it's all there, that why recreate something that's already there and already for the county?
Yeah, but it could be up to 2 years, and that is slightly more than temporary under
Oh.
the definition.
At least we know we have a plan.
But at least they're already in a county building. We could see how they do in that building, and then if it becomes where they can't function. But obviously, we've all been in the UT, we've been in that house, and I've been in that planning, because it used to be the attorney's office, and I remember it from my adoption. So I'm just saying, that's a lot better than what we had them in. God love them. They toughed it out in that house way too long. So, my suggestion is, let's let them get in there, see temporary, and then revisit this when we talk more permanent. Once we don't even know for sure. We've not talked to Schuler about planning yet. So my suggestion is to revisit it later, but get them into their temporary place first.
Yeah.
But it was to be used by two different.
Yeah.
Like the mayor said.
Yeah. That was the original intent for it, at least.
Going on with Academy Street, is there any chance we could get to use it?
Last I talked to Van Huss about it, he said that they wanted to do something equitable with it for both of us. With both the city and the county school.
No, this was flooded. This is in bad shape over here.
Academy Street is?
Academy Street's completely, it's probably as bad as Folsom right now. It's still got the mud in the parking lot. The whole bottom was washed out. So that the school system's already looking at what their options are gonna be, where that's probably not gonna be used anymore. So it's in a FEMA project right now too.
There's people and campers on First Street, one street over. Their houses were killed.
Yeah, all this down through here was completely washed out.
Asked and answered. Good idea, though.
It is available for grants. It is on the historical registry.
Folsom,
No, Duffield School, is it Duffield School? I think so.
Academy Street?
Academy Street, yeah. Is it on the national register?
Got some of the old stones still under it, but I don't think the building itself is on the registry.
Well, we'll have to look. But it was, it was.
There's a historical marker there.
Yeah, but that's the county, that's city though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's- And there's historical markers everywhere. The state does historical markers. They've got a program for that too. So
It's on my school system.
the key is it actually on their historical registry for preservation.
I sent a text message to David Collins. We'll see what he's got to say about it. Everybody else, I guess, just keep your ears and your eyes open for something that might fit Or at least get them what it is that they need, because we need a functioning ag office, because agriculture is still the number one tax base builder in the county. So
Could we reach out to TCAT and see if they have any space we could use temporary that they would be okay with us using? We need a few offices.
it's not something the county, something that the county owns. So I don't know if that would end up being able to qualify. In there where the other ag office is in the county, going up Stony Creek?
RCS.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there another?
No. Everything's all fall in and filled up with stuff.
Gotcha.
There's only 4 buildings there, I think.
Would be a good location if there was space, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any parameters as to area as far as?
Centrally located, I think, would be about the only one
Somewhere in
that
there.
would fit. So if you go for geographic center, something in Hampton would be completely effective. But that's why it's Elizabeth, and it's just down the hill. So
Central doesn't work too well.
oh well, we'll find out a little bit more next month. Everybody just kind of keep your eyes and ears open. If you think of something that might work, go ahead and run with it. Covered the Herman Robinson usage under this. I think that is about it for this. Anybody have anything new that they would like to add on? Mayor, Sheriff's Department at all? What other buildings in the county were impacted that we're looking at FEMA assistance on, besides Folsom, Duffield,
Just the county-owned buildings it's just Folsom.
just Folsom?
And that's the school system, Duffield is.
All right, floor is open for any comments if nobody has any suggestions.
I have one little thing to add, of course, but it's really a city issue, but it's about our county residents, so that's why I'm gonna bring this up. Our state rep, she's already reached out trying to diffuse the situation, but we have some county individuals that are disabled that I've had to put in campers, and they're in 2 campers at Mike Whitehead's camp place. I talked to him with today. City's already had their attorney sending him letters because one lady has a prosthetic leg and the other man was supposed to have knee surgery, but then the flood happened. He's 84 and so is his wife. So in that campground, we had builders make some steps out of wood. They're not connected to the camper. They're just there to help them get in because campers, you have to step way up high in and they can't get in. So city came around and issued a warning that their steps had to be removed. Even though they're not there permanently, we're hoping to get these 2 campers, their homes are being finished. It's down to painting right now and then get to lay flooring. They're part of the Valley Forge River Bottom Road Journey End area. So today when I called Mike Whitehead to say thank you for Imp Sites because he's not charging anything for these 2 to be there. Because once we place them in a camper, FEMA doesn't count them as displaced. So these individuals get 0 money and it's expensive for them paying a mortgage and having to pay for lot rent. So that's a big deal. Guys, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that I'm having to fight over some steps being there for someone with a prosthetic leg and for someone who has knee issues during the flood because they're displaced. So Renee reached out. She spoke, this was before the mayor exchange in the city. So Kurt Alexander, he said he'd handle it. That was about a week and a half ago. I was hoping it had gone away, but when I spoke today to Mike and told him thank you, he goes, oh no. Their attorney sent me papers just a few days ago said, they're not letting up. He said, I don't care. This is wrong. This is about a disability. But they're staying on him over it. And then I have one house, there's a gentleman on First Street, right over here, that his house was destroyed. He works for King Kelly, James Davis is his name. They have a 4-month-old brand new baby. They can't live in their home. They, we found him a camper. It was my first toy hauler that we bought that worked out perfect for a nursery for their child. So now that their camper's there, he's finding pushback because you're in the city and you can't have a camper. And that is the only camper, to my knowledge, that we've placed in the city or that I know of. But he tried living away from the house and someone broke in and stole some things. So he needs to be present, and plus you're having work, and you can't afford to live away. He's still paying a mortgage. And yet insurance was taking longer to get repairs done. So guys, ours, I know East City and lives in the city. These other two people are county residents that are displaced, that we've got them in a camper. And now, if I take their steps away, they can't get into their camper. So I plan to go to the next city council meeting and bring this up, being that this has not went away. And if this is the reputation the city wants to have, I mean, we'll play fair, but if that's how we're going to treat our flood victims, that's wrong. And so I don't mind, obviously, to go and speak about it. But if anybody has any ideas, to my understanding, we're still under an emergency, correct? Are we still? And am I wrong in saying if we're still under emergency, the city is within the county? So wouldn't that mean that their ordinary rules, would that still apply, that they should be overlooking this little thing about wooden steps? If
One would think.
but legally, I mean, what can we do? Is there anything we can do? Because this little lady took a picture and sent me the warning that was there at her door. And here she's lost everything. She's the one we found her car. But here she is already handicapped, and now they're saying take down your steps. So what can we do for our county citizens?
To my understanding, it's just the same as it was during COVID. I mean, the mayor can declare a state of emergency for the unincorporated county. The city mayor has to declare a state of emergency in the city. I don't think that's different now. So I don't think we can unilaterally stay their procedures during this.
Did they ever lift their emergency, or did they ever?
I don't think they ever.
They never did declare it. Well, any suggestions of how to help these two citizens? Because, I mean, I've exhausted all of my effort that I know to do here, other than just speaking up.
I've got a property there at my house if you want.
I can't move her. I mean, they're so close, and we're so close to getting them in their homes.
Plus, if it's possible,
But
if
this
it's
is
necessary,
ridiculous.
you can bring the camper down there to my place.
And I thank you for that. She's just from right here, and it's winter and driving back and forth as it is. Anybody have any suggestions other than just do what I was told tonight by the owner, said, leave it. He said, they let him come and try to take the steps. We're going to help this lady. So he's not going to budge. But I feel bad them getting the heat.
I don't think that I would want to be on the city's side trying to enforce this in front of a judge, personally.
Because these two residents, I know, will have to come with me to city council, and it will be quite obvious why they need a ramp. Because I'm done with that plan. We've got too many serious things going on. And it's not attached. The big thing is it's not attached to the camper. I could pull in and just load it onto a trailer. I know not to attach it, because then it's considered permanent. So, okay, that was it, guys.
City council meeting.
Can't make this stuff up, can you?
City council meeting.
No.
Anybody else? Floor is open for a motion to adjourn. Good luck, Angie.
Second.
All right, moving on.
I'll go next. Are you ready, Ms. Nguyen? I'll go ahead and call the Health and Welfare meeting to order at 6:50. Or the roll call stand, building grounds. Take a minute, look over the agenda. I do need to omit a couple of items, 4 and 5, because I forgot to take the election off from last month's meetings. Y'all can scratch them off. When you're ready, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve as amended.
Motion by Commissioner Frazier, could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lynn, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to, take a minute to look over the November meeting minutes. When y'all are ready, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the November meeting. Motion to approve made by Commissioner Collins,
Second.
second by Commissioner Frazier. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any public comments? Okay, I emailed, going on to new old business, I emailed a thing about Sky Best progress update. You should have that in your packets. Commissioner Acuff, would you like to say anything, or do you have any more information? Or maybe?
Not anymore. I do know that Edward Henson has offered on communication to come and address county commission on this body to talk about fiber-based internet service and where they are, and the houses have been included, and where they are currently focusing their efforts for additional grant funding.
Thank you, sir. Do y'all have any discussion on that or questions?
Just like to comment that it's impressive that they are still on schedule to be done in October of next year.
Anybody else?
Do we know what the fiber cuts?
What?
Says they are continuing to experience fiber cuts while cleanup and reconstruction efforts. That's a-
They were some of them, that's Elk Mills, and there's cable laying on the road.
That's probably in, it's in Elk Mills, Little Milligan area.
It's what?
It's in the Elk Mills, Little Milligan area.
Where the road washed off,
Where that big-
run
where
through
they
there, and
washed.
just trees down, took it down.
So it's not the forest characters up there, do
No.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to new business. Commissioner Thomas asked me to add the Carter County water quality. I'll let her touch base on that.
Before I became a commissioner, I had started reading quite extensively about fluoride in water because it was a big topic. Maybe you've heard about it also. And I actually had a couple of Carter County residents who were friends of mine call to have a lunch meeting with me, and they are very concerned about fluoride also. So they asked me if I would bring this up to the commission. So I started doing more research and getting more information. And what I've discovered, and I don't know much about Carter County yet, I mean, I'm learning, but for one, that was very surprising to me. In Unicoi County, we had a water department, Unicoi County Water Department. In Carter County, you have Rome Mountain and the Watauga Regional, and there's like 6. Most of them do not add fluoride. I don't know if you knew that. So, and I don't have my list in front of me because I came here in a real bad dash. But so that was interesting to me, that a lot of Carter County people do not have fluoride in their water. Now, the one that does add fluoride is through the water resources. Yeah, First Utilities. And I talked to Doug Cornett for a long time, and he had said for quite a while they put more than 2%, 2 milligrams per liter. But then about 10 years ago, he said there was a big discussion and they said that's way too much. And so they dropped the amount to 0.7 milligrams per liter. And strangely enough, that's what has been recommended most recently, nationally. But I bring this to your attention, and I sent you a bunch of articles because, and I'm not arguing one way or the other necessarily, I'm just trying to figure out, we have this inconsistency in the county. Some people have fluoride, some people don't. And I talked to my dentist, Bob Lewis, my past student, and he said, well, you know, in dental school, we were taught everybody needs fluoride, and that was the most important medical breakthrough of the 20th century, and fluorides help kids, but then you read that pregnant women and babies don't need fluoride and shouldn't have fluoride. And we're also putting fluoride in toothpaste, and we're getting fluoride from other sources. And now, is there a danger? So my question to you is, should we be concerned? Number one, I would argue that we should be, to get more information, be it pro or con fluoride. And when I talked to Doug, because I said, who decides how much goes in there or whatever? And he said the city council decides and tells them what to do. So I don't know. I just thought health and welfare, that was where we needed to start. And I would like to get the conversation going and just see if there's any comments. And fortunately, and even Bob's here tonight, so it's good. But I didn't know, Bob, you might be able to address, is this a topic that's even at the med school?
Not so much of a focus. We've had a number of folks in the surrounding region, particularly from North Carolina State University, Chapel Hill, who've contacted me about looking at fluoride in water. And you'll find people on both sides of the issue. Some say, too much is toxic, that. But also, even in small amounts, may be harmful, as you pointed out, to pregnant women and infants. So you get a good discussion on both sides of the house. Find some folks that are very adamant that they believe we need to add it, and you're going to have some on the other side that's we shouldn't be adding it.
And Florida just removed it.
Right.
The whole state of Florida.
Yep.
And if you go back, I sent that to you, but if you go back and read their rationale, it's pretty powerful stuff.
What is the purpose of the fluoride in the water?
The original purpose of it was to cut back and improve tooth quality at that time because.
Not doing it though.
Does it? And at one point, the levels were so toxic that if you went and looked at poison control's recommendations for fluoride consumption, drink a glass of water based on how much was in there, you should seek. You should go have your stomach pumped. So
That's what I thought, because I was born and raised in South Florida. We always had fluoride down there. But I never saw enough kids or adults without cavities. It's supposedly prevented. I mean, you might have 2 or 3 in 100.
depending on which studies you look at, and if you start digging into the stuff, I think it was Harvard did, they talked about the instant correspondence between the nationwide adding of fluoride and a consistent drop in IQ over the past, 70 years since it was implemented for college graduates. So
My motion is though, because we have our water districts, it wouldn't be up to us what they put in their water. So this would be something that would be best probably brought up. I know, we're talking about health and welfare, but it needs to be brought up at the different water districts that you could go and talk to them and tell them about it. That would be a decision upon them, what they put into it. And then you're gonna have different opinions across the board with or without fluoride, because I'm raising a niece from Oregon. She can't have anything, never a vaccine, she can't have fluoride or anything like that. But,
I was thinking.
so I'm just
well,
saying,
we
it
don't
would be
have
a
the
water district issue, I would think.
I know we don't have the ability to tell them what to do, but I thought it might be interesting to see what we could recommend or suggest or whatever. Now, and I will say that people that I talked to in these different offices, two of the women said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're checking into this because we get calls here asking about it." So two people said, people are interested in this topic right now. This has become a hot topic. So.
Might be for, any say whatsoever,
No,
so
I mean,
we could
those are
always suggest it.
state
and that's
level
all we can do.
decisions that the water utilities have their own boards, of course, and they're monitored through the state. But certainly you could recommend things. I mean, I'm nobody to recommend anything in this area. There's bona fide medical experts who disagree, so I don't know that we could get to a conclusion here. But certainly y'all could make a recommendation.
If someone asked me who lives in Carter County, I wanted to be able to say, I brought it up. There you go.
All right, moving on, Commissioner comment? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second. Motion by Commissioner O, who's taking it? Commissioner Williams, second, thanks.
Law enforcement. Got to say nothing.
All right, well, I'll call the law enforcement to order. And we'll just let the previous roll call stand. And I need approval for the agenda.
motion to approve.
Second.
And I apologize, mine's not as fancy as some of the people in here. So fancy, his agenda is very fancy. So need approval for the agenda. I got that, sorry. Approval for the minutes of November.
Got to vote on the agenda first.
We can do those.
Can I get approval for the agenda?
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Did we get a second?
I think you already got a first and second. We're just
You
voting.
got a first and a second.
Yeah, we just need to vote.
Need to vote. All right, so I need a motion to approve the minutes for November.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have any public comments? All right, we'll move on to old business and really didn't have anything. Do y'all have anything you want to add? Anything you need to know about? Anybody else? Any commissioner comments? They approve new business?
Say new business, I didn't hear.
Yeah, I asked if anybody had any new business.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, man, it's my like second meeting.
Just trying.
We'll give you to the third.
This is not necessarily new business, but I don't know if most of you are aware of the fact that former sheriff Dexter passed away this morning.
how to kill the room, don't you, Jack?
All right, any other commissioner comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Thank Avery.
We call the rules and bylaws to order. Let's roll call stand from the previous meetings or previous committee. Motion for approval of agenda.
Make a motion.
Second. Anybody?
Second.
All in favor? Need approval for minutes of the November meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Got any public comments? Any old business? Anyone have any new business they want? Okay, no commissioner comments, anybody? I'm at 1,000. All right, no commissioner comments, do I have a motion?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just to ruin your whole momentum.
Oh, man, you just broke my 1,000 mark.
Is there a law that says the bylaws have to be revisited periodically?
I'm not sure, I don't think there is. Josh?
Are you talking about the commission?
The commission bylaws.
I mean, frankly, it didn't exist until I put it together, whenever that was, 6 or 8 years ago. We didn't have anything. So I just kind of put together what we've got and we tweaked it a little, but we don't necessarily have to have any.
Well, the state doesn't mandate any of that.
Just that we're all here at the meetings. Just that you attend the meetings and the votes are public. That's about it.
All right, any other comments?
Just one, I heard back from David Collins. He said he had no idea what was out there commercial wise to reach out to Rob Stout, so I'll reach out to Rob Stout.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? That was short. 95.
Still smoke some. Had one and.
We're at the doctor Sunday. Let's go out now.
Trying to quit. I'm trying to. I just do the drill at home. I cut back on nicotine, I just cut back on smoking.
Yeah, have some of it exercise.
Her neighbor's coming tomorrow.
It'll get cold and yeah, everything.
Christmas.
I have one thing for the Doug Grant. I need it.
Smoke goes stale on the inside.
You gotta be able to electricity.
What drop bus?
That's the only thing.
On a clear, pretty day.
I tell you, those things are so.
Temporary housing for the ag extension.
Let's do it.
I hope that's something.
Bye.
Temporarily. We have to ask them.
As fast as I could. Yeah, exactly. That's why I let it go. I don't want the liability, but now a van.
It was occupied.
Somebody's living.
But yeah, it was being utilized as office space.
I'm sure, because I never saw anybody in there.
And I'll send it.
Tom cat around.
Have an A-ring.
And
You know.
Yeah, was your board?
it's really up to him.
I would say it's gonna be a check.
I had this laid out, I was.
They work together.
John, how you been?
Good to see you. I have been.
We've met 47 cameras go out. Thanks.